Today I'm going to talk about growing your own onion plants from seed for your fall gardening. Kenny here with Gardening Simplified, where I try to simplify the gardening process. Let's get started talking about planting fall onions from seed. Now, first thing I want to say is make sure that your seed is viable. The thing about onion seed, and I don't know if you can actually see it here, but we got one little onion plant that come up. These here were some red onion seed. These were from 2018, which is not that long ago. That's a couple years, and the seed didn't come up. And we'll go over some of this other. Now this is some seed I saved. This is some bunching onions. These are all from this past April. Now I've already planted some of these and they germinate just really great. But I had purchased some seed. Now I have some seed that I purchased this year that were from 2019. I have some more here. This is some of the ones from 2018 that were my Spanish onions. They didn't come up. I will try again. I have some early guanos that's from this year. Now the ones that I planted earlier that were from 2019 came up fine. I'm going to plant some more. And then I have some more red onions, and these were from June of 2019, so these should germinate just fine too. But the main thing I want to tell you about onion seeds are they need to be a year old, or not much more than a year old. They could be less than that. Like I say, the ones that I collected back in April germinate great, but they don't need to be past, say, a year and a half. You start getting questionable on the germination on that. But what I've got here is compost and peat moss mix. Now some people say put perlite in, some people say mix vermiculite in. Now I just use these two. The seeds germinate fine. As long as your soil is moist, they're going to put down roots. Now this container here does not have holes in it. When you're starting onion seeds, that's fine. Just don't wet it down to a point to where it's just saturated in water and holding. You'll keep it moist. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take some of these seeds that I have collected this year, and I'm going to sprinkle these all on the top. And these bunching onions, and if you want to make it easier for spreading these out, they make little hand seeders. You could put the seeds in here, and you could dial your hoe, and you could put them out that way, or you could put them out by hand. And as you can see in this one, the last time I planted, I just planted in these, but it's just as easy. In fact, it's going to be easier for me to just plant in this whole area. And what I'm going to do is just get a bunch of these seeds, and I'm going to plant them around in here. And I'm going to sow these real heavy. These are they don't need a lot of room. If you have a germination problem, with your seed, you're going to make sure that you have more of them germinate. If they come up right next to each other, it's not a problem. What you can do is, if you want a bigger plant when you put these out, you can take and sow these, or take, once they come up and you give them their first haircut, which I'll show you that in a bit, you can move them, you know, cut out sections and put them in a bigger container if you want bigger plants, if it looks like your germination's too heavy. But I'm literally planting thousands of seeds in here, and like I say, I'm not worried about having these too close. If you can see, and let me just kind of see if I can bring this in where you can see these seeds are, you can see them around here. They're just a whole lot of them real close. And by the time I get finished, that's what I'm going to have. I'll just have thousands of plants come up in this one container. Now, the rest of these, I'll just stick them away in the freezer, and I'll wait and probably plant some more next spring. This is going to be way more than I need anyway. Now, what I do is I just kind of pat these down. We're just kind of patting them so they're into the surface. We're not wanting to really pack the soil real hard, but it's not going to really make a difference. And then what I'll do is I'm going to take vermiculite and I'm going to sprinkle it over the top. Now the vermiculite will keep it moist so the seeds germinate. And I didn't say, make sure you take and water in or moisten your mix that you're putting in there so it's got a good amount of water. You will come back and we'll water it a little bit more, but that way you're sure that the peat moss has soaked up a bunch of water and it's kind of watered in good. Now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to sprinkle this vermiculite over the surface. Now the vermiculite is good about holding water, and what it'll do is it'll keep these seeds good and moist and for their germination time. Now onions do take a little bit. I'm going to say it might be like 7 to 21 days for germination, but what we'll do is we'll cover them with just a little layer of vermiculite so that they'll have moisture next to them, and then we're going to, and you can see that because it's the difference in the color, so you can kind of tell that you've got it there. And I'm just going to do the same thing again. I'm just going to kind of lightly pat this down so it's kind of next to the seeds. And then I'm going to take my trusty little hose water system, and I'm just going to water all this in. It doesn't move it around as much. Now if you have a real fine watering can, that'd be good, but for this first watering, until this kind of gets moist, you need to be gentle with it. Now I do have a mist sprayer, but it's outside, and it would actually work good too. If a few of your seeds are not buried, don't worry about it. You're going to have moisture in here. We're going to set this up like a greenhouse. Look like I have a little perlite in my vermiculite. Now perlite's also another one that a lot of people use to cover it with, but I find that vermiculite holds the water better. It works real good for germination of onion seed. So if it doesn't come up, if you get something like my red and white onions that didn't come up, just understand that if your seed is old, it's not going to be viable. You're going to be wasting your time. Don't try to buy your onion seed way long time in advance. Know what you're getting. Now I did buy mine back in the springtime, but I had planned to plant it this fall. And the supplier I get mine from, which we'll see if we can't get focused in on this. And I'm not going to pronounce the name, but you can see the website information. And I've had good luck with the seeds from there for my onions, and the price is good, especially when you're buying larger quantities, you know, like half ounce, or even a pound. But this is our first step. I'm going to go back and I'll water this one more time. I want it to be good and soaked, and then I'm just going to take saran wrap or a cellophane wrap and put over the top, and then just set it over on the counter. It is best if they're close to a window, so they can get light. Even indirect light is good for them. Let them get started. Once they start popping up, then we'll show what you need to do next. Now these are the bunching onions like I was planting there. This is the first batch that I had planted in the individual cells. Now these have had one haircut, and what I say haircut, now it varies on how much they say to cut it down to. I cut these down to about 2.5 inches, but basically what we're going to do is we're just going to take scissors and we're just going to cut off the long growth on here. And what this actually does is stimulate new growth. And with the shorter tops, which we know they're going to put a lot of energy to the roots, and these will actually grow back really quick. These haven't been in here for less than a week, and they've had a haircut, but they're really growing out from there. And what I'm doing here is I'm trying to increase the size a little bit before I put them out. Now these are my yellow onions that did come up from the first batch. I didn't plant a whole lot, and those were the ones that were taken out of that tray. And it's the same thing here. I just put them out here, and they're in the sun. I gave them a little bit of calcium nitrate so that they would go ahead and start growing more green leafy material. You can use a balanced organic fertilizer and then come back with a nitrogen rich organic fertilizer, and you'll get these to really grow some green, because it's the green on onions that is actually making your bulbs. Now these are not a bulbing onion. These are more of like a table onion, but these are a bulbing onion. And what I'll do is I'll put these out this fall, and then come late spring, early summer, these will be ready to harvest for large bulbs. Okay, they've all had their haircuts, and it's time to let them grow a little bit longer. And now I could say you could go ahead and plant these onions at this size. That they would grow. I like to plant them a little bit bigger than this. But some people, when they grow their own, they do tease them apart and go ahead and plant them this small. If you like this video and you want to see more of them, just subscribe and like and share it. Happy gardening.